Hello everyone and welcome back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We are of course going to be talking wrestling as always today. We are live on both YouTube and TikTok, so please do check them both out if you can, if you've not already been banned, because, you know, that's apparently a thing that happens now. Over in the US, y'all are banned. Y'all are trouble, apparently. I don't make the rules, but that's one of the beauties of having two different streams now, both the YouTube and the TikTok, in case you would like to join us on one, the other, or indeed every possible way. There are a multitude of ways to get your wrestling news, and we've got plenty of wrestling news for you. The top story today will be as regards to WWE being wary of the influence of Elon Musk before announcing WWE going to Mexico. There's a number of reasons for this. We'll get into that as our top story straight after the headlines. We're going to be talking Jamie Hayter returning to Eve, not the Indies per se, but also what impact that has on AEW contracts. She's not leaving AEW in any way, shape or form, but there are a number of things to be aware of when it comes to AEW and what companies they can and can't work for. We're going to talk Netflix, their opinion of the viewership they've had so far, what sort of viewership we're talking about, and their early preparations for the Royal Rumble. Thank you kindly, Proud Dad. Welcome back to the show. Good to see you. I very much appreciate all those likes already. We're going to talk WWE confirming my reports on the TNA partnership and what that looks like closer to time. There are some exemptions preventing certain wrestlers from being involved with that, for example. Dave Meltzer has also confirmed my report on Malachi Black. More of that to come. I love the heart. I love the strange things you can do on TikTok. Thank you once again, Proud Dad. And finally, we're going to talk about Lucha Libre Online's report as regards AEW wrestlers casting envious eyes in the world of the WWE. There is a lot of interest right now from AEW wrestlers in going to the WWE. But we will start, of course, with our top story, and that is the concern from the WWE that there will be a negative impact felt by one or the other president of the United States if they announce too early their deal with Mexico without going through that. There is currently a deal between the WWE and X. So X is, of course, formerly known as Twitter, which is a platform on which Elon Musk rants and raves and tries to destroy, you know, democracy. While he's doing that, he is, of course, very much appealing to the current president of the United States, well, about to be president of the United States, Donald Trump. That's very much an appeal for the WWE as well, who've worked with Donald Trump in the past and want to keep that relationship positive. Thank you very much, Jess. I appreciate that. It is one of those deals where they are very, very wary about potentially upsetting the balance, and that balance is very easy to upset. One of the easiest ways that they can upset that balance, just to be blunt, is by announcing things that the new administration is not necessarily positive of, which is why they've not yet formally announced WWE going to Mexico. There is an immediate concern that meetings need to be held between representatives of the new incoming US government and the WWE, essentially about how much profit is being taken by the WWE away from America. We are particularly looking at deals like the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, making certain individuals nervous. If you want to make America great again, you have to, of course, focus on America first, and the WWE have not been doing that for a long time now. There are conversations that need to take place, both in terms of the WWE speed deal between Nick Khan and Elon Musk. That is a conversation that will undoubtedly take place, and the WWE in some extremity have been in conversation with Donald Trump. Previously, this would be handled by Vince McMahon, but Vince McMahon is no longer involved in that particular piece of the business. So, to recap, WWE are very wary of the fact that the incoming presidency may not be happy with them taking so much profit out of the country, and they are taking their time before announcing anything formally to have those discussions. Thank you once again, Jess, for another heart. Appreciate that. Thank you again for so many likes. A couple of comments I want to read out. Liam says, what solos planned for tonight? Lot of talking, some action. Possibly LA Night. Jess says, hey Tom. Welcome, Jess. Proud Dad says, are there any numbers available on Penta's merch sales? Not as of yet. The WWE haven't formally released anything, and it is still very early days. On the YouTube side, we have plenty of people just joining and plenty of people leaving comments and leaving likes. We have 24 likes already. Let's keep those thumbs ups coming if we can as well. Bliss Gamer says, I can't wait until Alexa Bliss returns. Not long now. Declan hit the like button. Thank you, Declan. Joe says, hello, all of them one of my own families. Roy says, are you going to watch TNA Genesis on Sunday? Unlikely. Unfortunately, I just haven't been able to have enough time to watch TNA regularly recently. Declan says, any news on the Corey Graves situation? Nope, he's seemingly quite happy in the WWE now, and a lot of the reports that are going out have been very much questioned by representatives of Corey Graves. Bailey says, President Musk is not a fan of TikTok. He is not, one of the many reasons I use it. Leon says, hi Tom, hope you're doing well. Doing very well, thank you, Leon. Marcel says, hi Tom and chat, how are you all? Welcome, Marcel. Jermaine says, hi Tom, welcome, Jermaine. Dylan says, what matches do you see for the Royal Rumble that haven't been announced? We know the Royal Rumble matches themselves are coming. That will take up a lot of the time. I would only imagine a couple of matches are likely to be announced. I would expect another Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens match, for example, to feature at the Royal Rumble. Car says, hi Tom, welcome Car. And Declan says, hi as well, welcome Declan. Drive by says, smash the likes guys, please make sure you do. Ed says, hey Tom, welcome Ed. KJ says, hey Tom as well, welcome KJ. Car also asking about news on Corey Graves. Everyone I've spoken to has been very clear. The reporting that he's trying to get fired is absolutely wide of the mark. Liam enjoyed the Penta debut, says, what's your opinion on the Wyatt 6 moving to SmackDown? Spoke about that on on Monday's show, of course. As regards tonight, I don't know, haven't seen the rundown. Proud Dad, yes, I see Randy Orton back for the Royal Rumble. Before, not so much. Ed says, are you worried about a US TikTok ban hurting your TikTok streams? Yes and no, I don't think it's going to be banned. I don't personally think the TikTok ban will go ahead. I think at the last second it will be reversed, probably by Trump, as a way to say thank you to Gen Z voters who he's relying heavily on for future generations, as it were. I don't know beyond that, but what I will say, the ban in the US is not a ban in access to TikTok. It is a ban in updates to TikTok. TikTok will no longer be able to be downloaded. If it's already on your phone, you still use it. You can still upload to it. You can still create on it. There is nothing stopping you from doing so. So I don't see it being that big an issue first and foremost. As regards my viewership, the majority of my views seems to come from the UK and from Mexico. What I found on TikTok is wherever you are, that's where most of the viewership gets channeled from. I get a lot of viewership from Blackpool. It's very strange. A lot of focus that I'm not necessarily comfortable with. Ashley says, now that WWE NXT is working with TNA, will we get a Tessa Blanchard versus Julia match? More on that shortly. Marcel says, please let's try to break the like record here on YouTube. I don't see it. The like record is 182. That was a good day. Jess says, I'm Aussie, so it doesn't affect me. It does potentially mean less viewership if you're a creator, Jess. And it does mean, for example, there will be less American content for you to enjoy. So it does affect people. A lot of people I see moving to Red Square. I don't think it's actually called Red Square. I mean, that's something very different. Liam says, which WWE stars do you expect to be on TNA and vice versa with WWE? More on that shortly. Marcel says, hey, Tom. Wrong person. Calvin says, hey Tom, welcome Calvin. And Michael says, hi Tom, welcome Michael. Alan says, hey Tom, with this TNA and NXT partnership, does this stop people like AJ Styles appearing on TNA like he wants to? No, if anything, it makes it much more likely. Noob says, hello Mr. Colohue, how are you doing? Doing very well, thank you Noob. Welcome to the show. Iris says, my guy Tom, and he's watching The Pig. Dylan says, will they go to Mexico? Nothing has been formally confirmed. I find it very likely. Thank you very much for the penguin, Proud Dad. That's a phrase I never expected to be saying. There is a lot of very, very strange things about TikTok Live that I'm quite enjoying, I must say. The live concept in general, we started with Twitch, which as a platform we didn't grow on. We simply did not grow there. It's one of the reasons I've not been fighting to get back onto it. But the overall feel of the place was fantastic. It was fantastic, and I'm getting the same vibe from TikTok. Liam says, Penta versus Mysterio main event Backlash in Mexico. Depends which Mysterio. Personally, I've got Dominic. Roy says it's looking like Nick Nemeth is going to turn heel by attacking Joe Hendry. Razar says, would WWE be talking to the government if Trump wasn't president? Yes, they did, in fact. HCar says, Corey Graves was said about being demoted to NXT, posted a big post about it on X, but deleted. Wrestling Days reported it on Unseen on Wednesday. As I say, and as I've said, everyone I've spoken to have played down any suggestion that he was trying to get fired. Coot says, hello, Tom. Happy New Year. Been a little while. Good to see you, mate. Welcome to the show. Dylan says, from what you're saying, Trump would rather have WWE in America only. The WWE want to have conversations with the administration to find out if that is the case. The WWE are nervous about it. I do not have sources within the Trump administration. I'll say that for $1. Calvin says, pitch for heel team for multi-person tag. Cool, go right ahead. The Rabbit says, hey, Tom. Welcome, The Rabbit. Juan says, hey, Tom. HCar, I'm not that person. Joe says, hey, Tom. Welcome, Joe. Declan says we could see less international PLs in the next 4 years while Donald Trump is president with his tariffs. Yes, I'm definitely saying that. That is something they want to find out more about. Drive-by says, do you think we'll see Roman at Saturday night's main event? No, personally I don't. It's, what can I say? He's a very, very unavailable man. Very unavailable man. Sorry guys, just catching up. HCar, no news on Omos. Nobody's hearing anything. It's gone very quiet. Roy says, I hate Elon Musk. He gets in people's business, literally. Declan says, any news on surprises for the Royal Rumble? I've shared more surprise names for the Royal Rumble than anyone else has. Blue says, there are going to be a lot of returns at the Rumble. I've shared more news on that than anyone else has. Pardon me. HCar says, any news on Rey Mysterio? Not at this point. The plan seems to be to use him primarily to get Penta over. I nearly said Kenta, very different person. Blue says, I agree, Trump will overturn it. This is as regards the TikTok ban. Just not sure if he has the power without Congress as the Supreme Court upheld it. He does. He's the president. He believes he does, and that's all that really matters. If he says it, Congress will do it. No Cherry Coke, Declan, no. We are today drinking Iron Brew. Proud Dad says, do you see Nick Nemeth showing up in NXT? No, the WWE seemingly have no interest in having that happen. Any news on Jada Parker? Nothing that I've got at this time, I'll say that. I haven't heard anything further on Jada Parker, and I won't say I've done significant digging on it, but I'm waiting for more information. Andrew Quinn says, I think WWE and TNA, obviously my favourite companies, working together is fantastic. We get to see dream matches. Also, maybe it's Survivor Series this year. We get Raw vs. SmackDown vs. NXT vs. TNA War Games. We will not. Alice says, is there any update on when AJ Styles will be back? Not at this time. There is a whole storyline planned out for him when he does so. Jerry says, how is Blue Sky going for you? Going well. We have more than 1,000 followers already over there, so we're about a ninth of the way to where I am on the good old-fashioned Twitter machine. I continue to gain followers every single day, so I wonder how, especially given I took a nice long break, I wonder how real some of them are, I'll say that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm enjoying the platform. I'm enjoying that it's not Elon Musk, and I do think I get a decent amount of views from there, but we're waiting for more information, really. Proud Dad, yes, Masha vs. Cora Jade has been mentioned. Blue says, Backlash is in Mexico. I really like the idea of Backlash always being outside of the US, Canada. That is something they've been sort of pushing for, because it's right after WrestleMania. They usually go on a tour, and if they can get PLEs out of it, why wouldn't you? Coop for Free says, SRS confirmed your report that Speedball is AEW bound. Thank you for confirming that, Coop for Free. Another report confirmed, and with no mention. Sean says, hi Tom. Welcome, Sean. Your thoughts on Lyra winning the women's IC title? Good. I have no issue with it. I think she's well worthy of it and will do good things a little lower down the card. She's a very good shout, and I know that there are some concerns still about Dakota Kai's injury record, so maybe that had something to do with it. Jerry loves Iron Brew. Good to know. Joe says, WWE did awesome with Penta's presentation on Monday. It was weird seeing people complain that it had taken too long. How does that work? Like, what's going on there? Why would Penta be the one blamed? There were 3 people in that ring, and ultimately, if it goes long, the referee is the one who needs to be spoken to. Sean says, hope we get that AJ appearance in TNA. I'm confident you will. Jerry says, are you going to be doing any more YouTube shows with Nick Barbatti? I am. It seems unlikely at this point, unfortunately. I've spoken to him a couple of times since the closure of Nick and Tom's Intercontinental Adventure. I still have a lot of respect for the guy. I still really enjoy his work. It hasn't come around, really. And I think that's a shame. Moving away from Twitter, of course, means that we lose contact a bit more. I think it's a shame, but I wish him all the best, and I really hope to see him on my airwaves soon. Edward Brooks says, do you see Bayley moving to Raw after tonight? They were teasing her and Rhea, but now Roxanne might get in her business too. Quite possibly. We have Tiffany Stratton, we have Roxanne, we have a lot of people out for Bayley at the minute, but there's only one person that Bayley's out for. Christopher says, I think Roxanne Perez will cost Bayley her title match tonight on SmackDown against Tiffany Stratton. That would mean more Bayley time in NXT after all. Alice says, Nick Nemeth said he'd like Cena to appear on TNA during this partnership. That will never happen. Never say never. Never say never. What I will say, in fact, no, I'll say it in a bit. Thank you, Sid. Appreciate you giving me that update. Calvin said, do you see TNA and AEW invading WWE? No. Sid says the YouTube stream is going perfect. Always a good update. HCar says, do you see Joe Hendry return to WWE? Yes, I very much do. Maxie is saying, pick a number from 1 to 10. I was born on the 7th as a 7th. I'll always pick a 7. Jess says, what's Rhea's first feud as champion going to be? I mean, Bayley's right there. Right there. So is Bianca Belair. So is Becky soon. Juan says, how likely is it India Hartwell is bound for AEW? Meltzer believes it's likely. Difficult one to really project. I personally think she'll go to TNA, but we'll see how that goes. Again, difficult. Q says, Lucha Libre Online confirmed your report. Some talent who are frustrated with their role in AEW are reportedly more open to joining WWE following Penta's debut. I have more on that very shortly. We will be diving into it. But what I will say, yes, they have indeed confirmed that report. And Coop, you're on fire today, just making sure that confirmations have been seen. I appreciate that. That says, do you see Steph going on main event? Quite possibly. I mean, they don't really have anything for him on the Rumble. Apart from the Rumble. HCar, not at this point in time. There's been no update really on 2K25. Usually around Royal Rumble time, I start hearing that, oh, there's going to be a trailer, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. Nothing this year. Blue says, Tom, do you think Roxanne/Bayley is more likely for Stand and Deliver or Mania proper? Stand and Deliver. But also possibly Mania proper. I mean, Roxanne's on the way. Sean says, do you think there'll be TNA content in 2K25? It depends what you mean by TNA content. Roy says, when do you think Tiffany Stratton will turn babyface? Long after she is wrestling Charlotte Flair. HCar says, any news on Braun Strowman? Not her, taking a small break. Thank you, Liam, appreciate that. There's 28th of Jan for the 2K25 news, Tom. Yeah, nothing's really come out just yet. Nothing's really come out just yet. So we'll wait and see what actually rears its ugly head. So, we've spoken about the WWE being wary of Elon Musk and Donald Trump before announcing a Mexico event. Let's talk now about something AEW related, but also WWE related. There's actually quite a bit to dive into here. So I'll start by talking about Jamie Hayter. Eve Wrestling, someone who regularly drops into this chat is Dan Reed, head of Eve Wrestling, have announced that Jamie Hayter will be returning to Eve, a promotion that she has consistently worked for many moons ago, but has in fact been a regular at. It's being reported that she's quote-unquote returning to the indies, which is not what's happening. She's returning home a little bit. Now, before anyone gives you any clickbait, she's not leaving AEW. She's still very much a part of that roster. And in fact, AEW contracts do allow wrestlers a variety of outside interests. Though interestingly, and this is a bit of news you may enjoy, they're not allowed any formal stake in other wrestling companies. This means if any wrestler that is looking to join AEW has shares in, for example, WWE, they might need to sell them before they can actually join the company. To be clear, this has nothing to do with why Vince McMahon is selling all of his, because I know that question's going to come out. Just an interesting little tidbit that I thought would be very fun to hear about for people who are interested in AEW contracts. Sean, as I say, it depends what you mean by TNA wrestlers. Calvin says, is it crazy that I can almost see Tessa Blanchard being the Women's Royal Rumble? Yes. Roy says, I like watching Indy Hartwell's YouTube blog. Good, she's doing well from it. Chris says, Charlotte Flair will be a heel when she returns. Will she? Declan says, manifesting Becky 2-time Rumble winner. Coup43 says, is Athena interested in going back to WWE? Rumours are that she is. Liam says, is it true WWE will host another event in Paris? If so, which pay-per-view is that? Any of the big four? You're asking me, is it true that this thing's happening? And based on that, what's happening next? We can't confirm the first thing. How am I supposed to answer the second one? Sean says, do you think one day Jamie Hayter will be in WWE? Maybe, maybe not. I have no information on that. Chris says, Bayley has eliminated 17 people in all 5 Royal Rumble matches. She's been in and third most in Royal Rumble matches. Bayley says, what are Megan Bain's long-term chances in AEW? Not a promising start upon her debut. Far too long in the future to really talk about that. A wrestler who's just joined somewhere, it's very difficult to say, that person's going to win this day, this day, and this day. A lot of guesswork happening right now, guys. Alex says, did you see Samoa Joe return to AEW TV on Wednesday? Do you know how long his contract is? I do not. HCast says, any news on Carmella and Alexa Bliss returns? The Royal Rumble seems to be a nexus for a lot of returning women. Netflix planning for the Royal Rumble is underway, and they are very excited about potentially boosting en route to the Royal Rumble. It is, of course, a shame that the Royal Rumble itself will be hosted on a different arena in America, but Netflix do have the capability to go further and stronger internationally. And when it comes to the US, they're actually not that focused on US markets. The focus from Netflix is on international rights, and they've done extremely well from that. What I will say is that factoring in both international and post-event viewing, as in people watching on quick catch-up after the fact, rumours abound at the moment that viewership on Netflix is exceeding the infamous peak of the Attitude Era, though this is hardly a fair comparison because those ratings were US only and live only. That is not the ratings that Netflix are focusing on. Brad Dad says, do you have any updates concerning Malachi Black's WWE return? I do, in fact, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. Calvin says, don't know if anyone remembers. Charlotte teased a darker gimmick at one point. All I remember is uh-oh. Roy says, are you liking... I don't really know what that word means, Roy. I'm not sure if you typed what you meant to type. Joe, no need to apologise. Do you think, mate? Declan says, are you going to watch Queen of the Ring autobiographical of Mildred Burke? I don't really know the name. Don't know it. HCast says, any news on NXT pay-per-views not appearing on Netflix on UK Ireland? Nope, no news on that. Not really sure what you're referring to be honest. Sean says, PLEs will still be on Peacock for now in the USA, right? That is absolutely correct. They will be staying on Peacock for now, which is one of the reasons, of course, that the focus on from Netflix is on international arenas. Dylan says, what you're saying is they don't really care as long as people watch the day of and afterwards. Correct. It really doesn't matter to them that they don't have the US rights for SmackDown, for example. They don't care. They want the international Hoover up. In fact, what I will say, from what I'm seeing of the numbers that are out there, they're actually getting more viewership outside of the US live. Very popular in countries like India, for example. Andrew says, is there any news 2K will have a TNA DLC pack? There is no news I'm aware of as of yet. There's no news really of 2K25. You've had to work really hard on that question. I've made it really difficult for you and I do apologise. Jason says, chances Becky and Charlotte 1 and 2 in the Rumble. Very slim. Calvin says the Royal Rumble's on the same weekend as the Grammys, just in case no one has noticed. How crazy. Liam says, will there be a bit of tension in the bloodline tonight? Which bloodline? Which bloodline? Ruby, you've joined, and TikTok is telling me to say hi. Hi, Ruby. Blue says, I believe the Peacock deal ends March 2026. Hunt says, Meltzer reported Tony Khan is holding Miro, Starks, Black and Phoenix off TV till their contract expires. People say this is bad, but didn't Triple H keep Lashley off TV till it expired? Yes and no. Lashley was still involved, but he wasn't in the last few weeks. As regards keeping people off TV, yeah. Like, I know Meltzer reported that, but Meltzer's just confirming what I've already reported on it. Blue says Netflix doesn't have the India rights yet. Correct. Again, that was just an example I was going for. They are very popular in India. Roy says, who would you like to see in WWE from TNA? Most of the ones are already doing it, to be fair, but Rosemary, I will never get bored of seeing it. Gotcha, Declan. Didn't know that. Drop in the news for me. HCast says, any news on Bad Bunny? The WWE are in constant negotiations to bring him back, and there is an intention to do so. Andrew says, okay, Tom, I'm hyped up for Alistair's return soon, hopefully. Hope he uses Root of Evil theme he had when he was in NXT. WWE have renewed the rights to that song. HCast says, Tom, any news on Dustin Rhodes? No. Formerly in AEW, there was an attempt to bring him in to work with Cody quite recently, in fact, but it did not come around. Next piece of news. WWE and TNA. Oh, sorry. Liam is asking about Solo's bloodline. No, they love him. Also says Zarya, Jordan Grace, Julia, Stephanie Vaca, all in the Rumble. Absolute classic. That is something that you're thinking will happen. Right, so WWE TNA. WWE have confirmed my reporting as regards the TNA partnership. I've been speaking about this during spoiler warning shows for months now. TNA and I'm going to be very clear here, TNA and NXT talent will be loaned back and forth, and several TNA wrestlers are going to be bought out of their contracts early. This actually started with Naomi, and the negotiations over this deal started before that with Mickie James' appearance in the Royal Rumble. They've been working on this since, after it became apparent to WWE that TNA were open for business because they were working with AEW. Now, there are certain exemptions in place that mean that the WWE are said to not be interested in certain wrestlers appearing in NXT, and vice versa. There are wrestlers that TNA do not want appearing on their programming either. The difficulty they have is that this partnership is not with WWE proper. It's not with Raw and SmackDown, which is why AJ Styles still has a few hurdles to jump before he can make his planned appearance. One of those names that's been said to me as an exemption, WWE is said to not be interested at all in a WWE appearance for Tessa Blanchard. At the same time, no active TNA wrestlers are expected to appear on the main roster. So if anyone does appear on the main roster, such as, for example, Joe Hendry, it will be a signal that the contract has been bought out and the WWE now have that piece of paper. What I will say, there are discussions underway about Royal Rumble appearances. Pardon me. Jordan Grace's name has appeared again, as has Joe Hendry's name. We'll see how that plays out. The Rabbit says, do you expect the Wyatts to be done with the Final Testament since they moved to SmackDown? Yeah. There's been a pivot and I'm not happy about it. Sean says, will Netflix care that Raw will be competing against the college football championship this week? No. Again, they don't care if you watch it live. They just care that you watch it. Roy, I'm not sure ODB would really fit. Blue says, I'm confused how people think wrestlers can hide from Tony that they want to leave. If they refuse to re-sign, that's a sign. Pretty much, yeah. They, the wrestlers in question have been very clear. Very clear. Brad Dad says, say his name and he appears in the Rumble. Liam says, why do you think the pivot happened with the Wyatts? Unfortunately, I think there were some serious discrepancies between what Bo Dallas wanted to have happen and what the creative team wanted to have happen. This also happened to Bray Wyatt several times, and it caused some serious problems. Bray Wyatt only ever wanted to tell one story. He was never able to finish it because he would get started. The WWE management creative would all be singing the praises of the story, and then they'd tell him, it'd be really cool if you did this. I see what you're trying to do, but what if we did this instead? And it became problematic. I've reported on that on YouTube for a number of different videos. Blue says, Black's presentation was such a big part of his aura in NXT. Bringing back that song is a must. Alyssa says, who do face Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 41, John Cena, Randy Orton? Andrew says, I'd love Starks to help Cody at the Rumble. Also, do we get Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk down the line during the TNA and WWE partnership? As I've just explained, there are reasons why I don't think that's going to happen. Michael says, do you think we could see Nixon Newell sign anywhere soon? Yes, though there are questions about her fitness, naturally. Liam says, is that why he's moved to SmackDown so he can have more creative freedom? Bo Dallas does not have creative freedom in the WWE. HCast says, Tom, Hulk Hogan appearing on Saturday Night's main event, Cultaholic Wrestling report it. Cultaholic Wrestling's an interesting one. That's not something that I'd necessarily expect. But I have mentioned a number of times, and it was confirmed by Fightful behind their paywall, without any mention of me reporting it first, that Hulk Hogan has been trying desperately to get that invite ever since appearing at the Republican National Convention. Alex says, why is Nemeth mentioning Cena appearing in TNA for popping the ratings? He even says, is Triple H friends with Elon and Trump? Friend is a strong word. Strong word. Ishii says, hello Tom, hope you're okay. Doing well, thank you Ishii, welcome to the show. Blue says, I can see WWE bringing in Tessa for a one-off to see the reaction. If she gets Hogan, she's done. That said, she has so much heat with WWE talent, maybe they want to avoid that. Triple H is not one to risk it. Nick Khan is, which is why of course Hulk Hogan appeared in the first place. The Rabbit says, it sucks that the Wyatts don't get their revenge. Hopefully they'll come back round to it, but yeah, it's not going well for them. Ishii says, do you see Wyatt 6 tonight? I'm not sure. HCast says, Tom, do you think the $1 Million Man will appear at Saturday Night's main event because he did a video about it? I think he's trying to make it happen. Michael says, people on good old Twitter think everyone has creative control in AEW. Yeah, nobody does. Nobody. Everything goes through Tony Khan. Ethan, you might be onto something. Andrew says, plus it's actually crazy that WWE will hold a WrestleMania press conference during Super Bowl weekend in New Orleans, February 8th. Yeah, they think they can compete. They genuinely think they can compete. Jess says, it feels like they use the Wyatts to make people on social media talk, and that's it. There's a lot more to it than that I can't get into just yet, but there may be video incoming. Liam says, can we expect an Io Sky and Penta face-to-face, or a Chelsea Green Pants face-to-face? I wouldn't hate it. Lucha Underground was a very good time. Roy says, WWE should jump at the chance of getting Tessa Blanchard. They're not going to. Calvin says, I hope we get a segment where Waller blames Fury for their loss last week. Seems unlikely. And HCar says, any news on WWE Hall of Fame yet? As soon as I've got something, you'll be the first to know, but it's not information that I have or historically do have, unfortunately. Bailey says, what is Jennifer Pepperman's role with WWE outside of Mercedes money? They mentioned this one at length. She is part of a new look creative team that essentially replaced the constant involvement of Tony Khan. Alex says, WrestleVote said WWE were holding that press conference in New Orleans. Sean Ross Sapp said WWE said they are not doing it. The WWE might have said that. That doesn't mean it's right. WWE also said that Ronda Rousey's contract was for 3 years. Sean Ross Sapp then rumour killed me and said she's going to be there for 3 years when I said that she's going to be there for 12 months. Guess how long she was there? It was 12 months. Jess says, any news on Ray Phoenix's AEW contract? Ironclad. And Proud Dad says, any word on Penta's first feud? Chad Gable was the first match, but there's some good options available to them. Welcome, Carl. Does Edge return at Royal Rumble 2020 or Hardy's at WrestleMania 33? Good question. I liked what they did with the Hardys. I liked what they did afterwards with the Hardys. Edge I didn't see coming, though. I'll say that. Edge I didn't see coming. Jon says, any ideas on what Becky's new persona is going to be? It won't be new. Andrew says, dream match I want at SummerSlam, Punk and AJ versus Becky and Seth. Declan says, when Becky Lynch is going to return, is she going to be heel or babyface? It's Becky Lynch, babyface. Dylan says, hate to say it, but the biggest sporting event in history is the Super Bowl. More people are going to watch the Super Bowl than they are going to watch a press conference for a show that doesn't even happen for another 3 months. Didn't say they were going to win. Said they felt they could compete. Pink Society, Tom, any news on the Wyatt 6? Shared what I can. I did mention there was talk of them moving across the other side because the creative teams have struggled to find anything to connect with them over. Yeah. Awkward. Roy says, any news of Shane McMahon going to AEW? There were never any plans for Shane McMahon going to AEW. I said it here a million times. Jess says, does Edge actually think Cope is a cool name? Yeah. Liam says, can we expect Tom Colohue number 30? No. They all can beat me up. I ain't taking that risk. Yes, H-Car, I've spoken at length on TNA talent in the Royal Rumble. Even says, any good surprise or returns tonight on SmackDown? I don't have the rundown. I'm not one of those guys. Alex says, both of the Hardys seem very confident they'll be able to appear on WWE TV with this new deal. Says they filmed content for WWE and interviewed Chris Van Vliet. They have. It's mostly backstage and documentary content. Blue says, Tom, what do you think of Tony's strategy with talent that wants to leave? Not from a moral perspective, but a business one. I feel like this is hurting their perception of being the fans' company. Yeah, they weren't. They weren't the fans' company. They're a capitalist company. The fans' company would be left-leaning. It would be socialist. Be Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, of course, actually did reach out to AEW and give them some free press. She'll never do that again. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. HCar says, will the SmackDown watch-along ever return? I don't know. I like being able to go to sleep. I have kids. It really does change things. So, yeah, I do have to rethink my process. Calvin says, matches for Mania. Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee? Not happening. Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller? Seem to have forgotten about it completely. Gunter versus Goldberg? That would be disappointing, but also does seem like it's probably what they might lean towards. CM Punk seems unlikely to let that happen. The Rabbit says, on the bright side, there's some good talent the Wyatts can face on SmackDown. Uncle Howdy versus Solo Sikoa. KJ says, did you cover the report from Lucha Libre yet about AEW wrestlers being uncomfortable with their spots? That is coming soon. I have one more report before that, and then it's just that one. HCast says, any news on contracts going to expire soon? And tell you one that already has. In fact, let's do that. Malachi Black. Dave Meltzer has now confirmed, without mentioning that I reported it, Malachi Black will be returning to the WWE. He's now confirmed also that Creative have already started making plans. Again, confirming my reporting with no mention of it. He also states that the reported 2027 contract end date for Black, quoted by Tony Khan, was wrong. Now, when I reported this about a year ago, I was questioned at length, including by Raj Giri, who used to run Wrestling Inc., because he had different information. Shortly afterwards, he had information that it was wrong. My name wasn't mentioned. Everyone has forgotten my name just in time for this confirmation to come out. Jess, I've spoken about Malachi Black and a spot being saved for him in the Rumble. Liam, that's a long question. I don't really have time for it, to be honest. So, yeah. As regards Malachi Black, I am proud of my reporting here. Proud of my previous reporting on Aleister Black, even though he himself denied a report that I had made, and it was then proven true. He denied this report too. It was proven true. I don't love that it has to happen. But yeah, I'm going to call it a win. Blue says, I agree on the reality of AEW as a business. They had the perception of being for the workers and fans. This feels like it's destroyed it. It was destroyed a while back, unfortunately. Ishii says, I hope WWE don't give up on the Wyatt Six. Let's hope things change. Yeah. Bailey says, does Dave Meltzer give credit to anyone else anymore? Not really. A lot of his newsletter is just what other people have reported, and he just doesn't mention their names. Blue says, I know things change, but is there any AEW talent you expect in the WWE after their contracts expire? Blue, once again, covered this at length. I've named a lot of people. Alex says, Meltzer also said, no one knows the exact date Malachi's AEW contract is up. To my knowledge, that's true. Finally then, Lucha Libre Online have confirmed my reporting. Jesus, there's a lot of confirmations today. Have confirmed my reporting on AEW stars seeing the debuts of wrestlers like Cody, Jade and Penta with envious eyes. The WWE are creating a context that no wrestler should ever turn down a WWE contract, and this includes wrestlers currently wrestling for AEW. Given what is happening with AEW wrestlers, the WWE are confident that the threat from AEW continues to diminish. In many ways, they don't feel any threat whatsoever. Blue says, can you just tell me if Joe has a real chance of returning? I could not have been more clear that Samoa Joe is the first name on the list when Triple H returned. I don't think I could have been any more clear about that one. We've been live for 40 minutes. That is all of the news that I have for you. A lot of it was just other people confirming what I've already reported. We will be back live on Monday, and there'll be plenty more Tom Colohue content coming your way in the meantime. Until then, I will, as always, say that I've been Tom Colohue, you've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.